Oh, man.
Welcome. Views from the 22, live on the scene. We got a jam-packed show for you this Monday, the Monday Night Views. We got Monday Night Raw, we got Monday Night Views. That's just what we going to call it. 22 crew in the house. We got Mo Schefter, Vic Jr., special guest from 94 Feet of Life, Trav, my guy. Of course, man, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you are on the Instagram, scene underscore the on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe, notifications on. We give you the news. We give you everything that you need right here. This is the real deal, and we not playing games. Fellas, let's go around the horn real quick. Mo, how you doing, brother? You all right, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, you know what, Germ? As soon as I saw that little red live go on my screen, I instantly started feeling better. Cause I know for the next 30 to 45 minutes or so, I'm gonna just talk about football and ignore all the extra stuff that's happening
Yeah, see,
in the world today.
I got the shakes. Got the shakes. I'm so excited. Vic, what's up, bro? Talk to the folks, man.
Hey, man, just it's been great. I had the privilege of staying home for a lot of this, missing no football games, missing no news, staying away from trouble, staying away from COVID. And just it's been a fun playoff ride so far, and we still got 2 more weeks to go. I'm ready.
And Trav, man, I just wanna, I just wanna have a good conversations with my friends and families. What's up, man? How you doing, man?
Hey man, everything's good for now, but going on, man. These playoffs is going like it should right now, man. But it's more football to be played, more games to be taken care of by my team. Hey man, let's get this thing going right now, man.
So, number one, of course, the first part of this show, we always go ahead and we talk about the illustrious gospel, or not, excuse me, gossip hour or 15 minutes about coaching, about players, about different things that are going on in the football world. So we're gonna turn this over to our well-spoken Mo Schefter.
Yes.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Yes. So we got 7 head coaching jobs that were available in the NFL this offseason. 5 of those positions have been filled. The 2 ones remaining perhaps are the most intriguing. So we're going to save those 2 for last. Let's talk about the hires that have happened. So I'm going to name the team, name the coach, and then go around the horn rapid fire style, and then on to the next coach. We are going to start with Duval's finest. Shout out to Duval County. The Jacksonville Jaguars hired former Ohio State, former Florida head coach Urban Meyer. He won championships everywhere he's went. This is his first NFL head coaching job. Jaguars obviously hold the number 1 seed, the number 1 draft pick. Could they go Trevor Lawrence? Could they go Justin Fields, who recently officially declared for the NFL draft? Who knows? But it's certainly understandable why the Jaguars would want Urban Meyer and why the Jaguars' job would be appealing to Urban Meyer. Germ, let's start with you. They got rid of Marone, bringing in Urban Meyer. Talk to me about how you feel about the culture fit and everything else.
Culture fit is to be determined. He's coming from a college program and doing more things with college kids, of course. So that's the first thing. Coming from here, this is not a recruit job. You're not recruiting anybody. You actually have to pick people, draft people, develop people, and you have to have a program and a system that works. Just that simple. As far as Urban Meyer, I think he's a good guy normally for the locker rooms, but let's see how it works in the NFL. We all know what happened with Nick Saban. Nick Saban came to the NFL and he ended up back in college dominating. At the end of the day, it is what it is. And I'm going to swing it back, swing it around the horn. Go ahead, Vic.
Yeah, I mean, and on top of that, he's gonna have to deal with more veterans, older guys now. He's been able to relate to the college kids right now. He's had some success there. Like you said, he's had to recruit kids from high school. But the good thing about it is the Jaguars have a young football roster, and on top of that, he gets the number 1 overall pick, where he can select a quarterback if he feels fit for this football team, and kind of grow with that quarterback as well.
Absolutely. Trav, anything you want to add to this?
I don't know if that's gonna work, man.
Interesting.
I don't know. Like, dude, I mean, of course he's winning, but those are kids, man. These are grown men. They got grown money. They got more money than you.
Mhm.
When it's all said and done, it's to be determined. Are you gonna pull out a Steve Spurrier or something like that? That ain't gonna happen. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Right
I
now,
mean,
it's to be determined for me as it is.
right. I think that's how most of us feel, considering um, major head coaches from college and their transition to the NFL hasn't always worked out. It's more guys who are a little bit, up and coming, just recently left the NFL, and they're working their way up, and they have like what's his name, Cliff Kingsbury, for example. That's a perfect example. Even though he's still maturing as a coach, I think it's clear to see that he was going to always adjust to the NFL because he was just there. He was there for all those years as a backup, spent time with New England, then coordinator here and there, coaching assistant, whatnot. So we'll see. How I think to be determined is how most of us feel about this hire, but it is a good hire nonetheless. A not so good, maybe head scratching, maybe I don't know what the hell they're thinking. It just further exemplifies the fact that they are the New York Knicks of the National Football League. The Detroit Lions hired Dan Campbell to be their NFL head coach. Now, if you don't know who Dan Campbell is, or if you happen to, hey, wait a minute, I've heard that name. Dan Campbell was the interim coach for the Dolphins for like, what was it, 2 games maybe? He's probably the buffest coach you will ever see in your entire life. He looks like he can still go out there and play, maybe do a couple reps. I just don't understand, with all the candidates available, with all the guys with a more proven track record, how in the world did they end up with Dan Campbell? No offense to Dan. This is not on you. But here we go again with the Lions. They fired Jim Caldwell, perhaps unreasonably, perhaps with no merit. No offense to you, True. But they got who? Matt Patricia, right? Now they're going to Dan Campbell. So it seems like they're not necessarily getting these highly coveted guys. Could be a domino effect of the way they handle Jim Caldwell. Jerem, give us your thoughts.
Don't really care who the Lions hire. Don't care who they draft. Just don't draft the good players. Let them go to teams that they should go to. Okuda was a good fit for y'all because y'all ain't never gonna be nothing good. And I just never was high on the player anyway. So it is what it is. I'm not being nice. Period.
Vic?
I mean, I'll be the more positive, optimistic guy for this. Despite the fact that they don't have much of a roster, I think that he's gone through enough experience with Sean Payton and the Saints on how to build a roster, at least in terms of talent. The culture will now remain to be seen. What kind of culture change he can bring to Detroit, because we know what they had in New Orleans. It was a very sketchy kind of culture. So,
Right.
but I think he's somebody that can probably build at least a talented football team.
Sure. The Jets hired Robert Salah, defensive coordinator for the 49ers. I don't like nothing about this hire because to me, it's two things. Number one, the 49ers lose a stellar defensive coordinator. Number two, a stellar defensive coordinator goes to a not so stellar franchise. I don't think he's the right fit. I don't think it's going to be good for Sam Darnold's career and development. And I just don't see what's going to come out of this. Again, I think Robert Salah is ready to be a head coach, 100%. But I just don't understand why he ended up with the New York Jets job. Once again, the Jets are showing that they don't really have a sense of direction or purpose to what they do. Vic, let's start with you on this one.
It's just probably, a situation where he wanted to accept the challenge.
Sure.
They do have some good defensive pieces. He seems like a guy that's willing to take any challenge. I like his personality. I like how hype he gets during the football games. I mean, you even see it on film. Like, he's on the sideline cheering the heck out of his team, his defense. Jumping up and down like a child. And I love seeing that kind of stuff. So I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm gonna just try to be optimistic about everything, man, until it's proven different.
Mhm.
But this is a team where they're gonna have to build a lot of put a lot of talent. Change your face, Germ. Change your posture too.
Trav, anything you want to add before we toss it to Germ?
You know what? I've never seen two teams that can be referred to as the Knicks as a culture, but Detroit is one and the
Mhm.
Jets are another.
Absolutely.
But in the way in the terms of the Jets, you've been so down for so long. The only way you can go is up at this point. So
Yeah.
let's
Germ?
see.
Let me make this clear, man. Remember what I said about successful franchises normally having coaches that fit the persona of the actual cities? He doesn't fit the persona of the city. This is not a hype city. He fits in San Francisco. Jumping up and down, all that stuff, jumping off the stage, jumping. Hey, he fits that. That he fits there. But in the New Yorkers are a little bit more rude, a little bit more snobby, a little bit more. You got to personify where you're
What?
at.
That's why Rex Ryan fit that.
Exactly. See, certain things make sense. Oh, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. That's what it doesn't make sense. Make football make sense again. What do the Jets do?
It sounded like you're
I'm
describing Boston.
I'm getting something in my ear from the producers saying that we have a disgruntled member from the Bronx who's got some opposing to say to the way Germ just
Wow.
described New York as.
A little bit rude. I mean, I thought you were talking about Boston or something.
No.
Wait. Did he go to the Patriots or
No.
Boston College? Is he coaching in Boston College? What?
No.
Damn. All right.
No. Vic, are you not a little rude?
I mean,
Okay, all right.
Vic is honest. Vic is honest.
Hey, look.
Honesty is something.
Brutally honest at times.
Listen, I'm gonna just say, as somebody who is fond of New Yorkers for different reasons, including my brother here on the screen, I would say this: there's a lot of similarities between New York culture and the Virgin Islands culture, and Caribbean people are pretty forward as well. So I rude is not the right word. They say what's in their heart.
Feelings.
That's what
I said.
Maybe in the feelings.
I said what I said. All of the truth.
Listen, you know what, Germ? If you drink a little Crucian rum or maybe some coquito every now and then, you might start to come more from your chest.
He the first one talking about Vic. When I come through, we gotta hit up Spanish Harlem, Vic.
Okay,
we gotta
guess what?
We gotta go to that club.
Guess what? All y'all tell me I'm too harsh.
Germ.
So I think I was made for whatever culture.
That's because Ohio has bad weather. That's why.
Bad weather, bad attitudes. I'm here for all of it. Let's get to the next. Let's get to the next square.
So let's get to these next two hires, rapid fire style. These next two hires are ones that I am more optimistic about for different reasons. Number one, the Los Angeles Chargers hired Brandon Staley to be their head coach. Brandon Staley, former Broncos, I think he was the linebackers coach. He's been the Rams defensive coordinator for the last couple for this last season, and I think you saw that he understood that he has the best player in the world, and unfortunately, the talent surrounding him, with the exception of Jalen Ramsey, isn't anything too great. It's a lot of good players. They mesh well, certainly, but it's for the most part with that defense, and we saw that against the Packers, and we'll talk about this soon. It's Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, or bust, and that's it. Brandon Staley, if you ask me, is a rising coach in this league. I think he is going to be a good head coach, but furthermore, I think he's going to help Justin in certain parts, and I do believe, again, it's hard to rely on the Chargers to do the right thing, but I do believe they will bring in somebody from the offensive coordinator position to help out Justin Herbert. Fellas, any thoughts on this? On the Brandon Staley?
Congratulations. I want to see what you do. I agree with the up and coming coach aspect of it. This is the hire that I'm the most okay with out of all of them, and this is the one that's the most acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done a decent enough job, with the Rams. Despite the fact that they probably have two of the best defensive players in the league, the other pieces are very questionable. And I think he's done an overall good job coaching everybody up. This is a good scheme. despite the performance that I'm very frustrated with against the Packers. They looked like they weren't prepared at all. Despite that, I think that he's got some pieces in Los Angeles that he can work with, and so I see another chance for that defense to be top 10 again.
Sure. Trav, anything you want to add to this?
Take care of your players, man.
Yeah.
Take care of your players. You don't want that karma to hit you like Lynn got hit with. Take care of your players, man.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say on that.
I hear you. Atlanta Falcons, they fired Dan Quinn in the offseason. They went ahead and hired Arthur Smith. Again, Arthur Smith has been the offensive coordinator for the Titans. He replaced Matt LaFleur, who is the head coach of the Green Bay Packers.
Everybody go before me. That's all I'm gonna say. Sorry.
And here they are again. No, you good. Here they are again with Matt LaFleur in the NFC Championship game. I'm sure the Falcons are expecting Arthur Smith to come in there and do something similar. Maybe he can revamp. Maybe he can save the career of Matt Ryan. I don't believe that's the case. I think they should listen to Vic and replace him. But it is hard. Believe it or not, it is still hard, extremely hard, to just replace Matt Ryan. It's not somebody that you're just going to be able to pick off the street and come in and perform to the level that he does. Again, it is the hardest position to play in all of professional sports, in my opinion. And so I just think yes, this is a good hire, and maybe this will help Matt Ryan stay there for another year or two. But I think if anything, they need to bring in somebody in this span so that this head coach could help him develop behind a Matt Ryan. Vic?
Yeah, I mean, despite the list of guys that we think should be replaced, should move on soon, again, it's the position. Like you said, it's that position that you can't just say, all right, buy Matt Ryan, and then don't know how you're going to replace that, right? So I think Matt Ryan should be there, of course. But I think that with the pick that they have this year, they should really consider these 4 or 5 quarterbacks that we expect to possibly go in the first round. Do your due diligence, do your homework, I think he's done an outstanding job with Ryan Tannehill. I think he's done an outstanding job with that offensive line and that run game, the way that he's able to scheme Derrick Henry and some of those guys open in the receivers and stuff like that. So he's got talent when it comes to the Atlanta offense, So that's going to be, I think it's probably is the best hire out of all of these so far. It's just interesting to see what they're going to do with that pick. I don't know if I think it's a top 5 pick, right?
Number 4.
Yep, number 4.
Yeah, so they're going to get a shot at a couple of these quarterbacks. So it's going to be interesting to see if they go that route, and I think they should. I think Matt Ryan plays one more year with somebody right behind him ready to go the next season.
Sure. Trav, anything you want to add?
Man, I'm going to ask this question before I answer. Does this coach got any ties to Matt Ryan by any chance? Does he has any affiliation, anything
Not that
like
I know of. No. I don't
Leap of faith. Leap of faith. The reason why I'm saying leap of faith is the simple fact Matt Ryan got to go. I do not. Get your new coach, get your new quarterback. Get your new quarterback. You got receivers there. Start the whole thing over right there. Start it over, man. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in Atlanta. The only thing I believe in Atlanta is my Atlanta Braves. Right now, it ain't the Falcons. It ain't nothing. Other than that, man, hey.
What about the Hawks? No,
I don't believe in it.
You gonna say something, Vic?
No, yeah, I think that they need to develop a better run game. That's the kind of culture
1000%.
change that I want to see, where they run the ball a little bit more. Because Matt Ryan has to throw the ball way too much in some of these offenses that he's been in. So
yeah,
let's get a running game in there, like for real.
Right. It'll be interesting to see if they do spend a high draft pick on a running back, if there is one who could be somewhat of a culture change to that.
Yeah, they could go quarterback and running back in the first 2 picks.
They are picking at 4, so there is a realistic chance that they draft Matt Ryan's replacement. Certainly. Go ahead, Jerm.
This is stupid. This is dumb. It makes no sense. You just put out a report that said that Eric Bieniemy was not, quote unquote, interviewing well for this position. What does it entail that interview well mean? What does that mean? Please explain what that means. If you can't explain what that means, you mean this guy came into your room, came into your meeting conference room, wherever it was that you had, this Zoom conference, whatever, and you told me you couldn't talk X's and O's with this guy? That's what you're telling me? You're telling me that you couldn't talk X's and O's with one of the guys responsible for a juggernaut in another part in another part of the NFL. That doesn't even make sense to me. So you go and you get a guy who has a limited offense, a limited tailback, a limited receiver right now who is shining in AJ Brown. When they can't find a way to use Corey Davis, they have tight ends that they can't find a way to use and use more than anything off of play action of anything or anything else. And then you mean to tell me that this guy is more qualified for the job than a guy who has an offense clicking on all cylinders, a guy who has found a way to use limited tailbacks like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he has made them look like they are more than what they have been in the NFL in their first year. With everything that I've said, with everything that I see in this situation is BS. I do not like this. This is a hire that I am going to literally be watching the entire time, and I'm watching to be petty, not to be nice. I'm going to be petty. So when Atlanta comes back and then they end up going a crazy 5-11 next year or something crazy again, and then this guy's the head coach, I want to know then what's the problem. Because Matt Ryan is not the only problem in Atlanta. Your beef is average. Some of the guys that you paid haven't been good since 2016, 2017 in the Super Bowl. Let's start right there. Next thing is a lot of your players, to be honest, have been in and out of the lineup with injuries. So are you going to move on from Keanu Neal this year, who is a free agent? I feel like he should have never got to this point where he's even on a free agent list. You should have already put the money, put the pen to the paper.
Yeah.
It's the culture in this building has to be changed from the time it walks in, from the time the new coach walks in. Julio Jones, that's another guy. Love Julio Jones to death, but guess what it's time to do?
Separate.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley, you gave him money. What was the point of paying Todd Gurley this money and you can't even use him the way you want to use him? Because his body is not allowing him to be the same player he was. These are things that this franchise, this organization has dropped the ball on consistently. Matt Ryan has not been a good quarterback since 2016. We're going to call it what it is. He has always struggled in the red zone. Always. And you mean to tell me that Atlanta didn't know this when they brought in all these other coaches? Dan Quinn got fired unfairly. He was the best one that they had. Dan Quinn was the best coach in Atlanta. They got the most out of their defense. They got the most out of everybody on that team when Dan Quinn was the head coach. Everybody has regressed, stepping back. That's all I have to say, period. I'm watching you. I don't believe in you. I need more people.
What year was this?
Pessimistic germ.
I mean, if you look at it, Germ, it was only that year, that 2016 year, he threw 38 touchdowns.
He hasn't come close to that.
He's
since.
only thrown he's only thrown 30 two other times in his career. This time he threw 38 touchdowns. And the biggest difference was two things. Number one, depth and purpose with their running game. Number two, execution in the red zone and on third down. Listen, we'll talk about
Kyle
Atlanta.
Shanahan.
Well, thank you. That was absolutely the biggest factor in all of this, which is something that we're gonna touch on this when we get to the Tennessee Titans in the offseason program, as well as the Atlanta Falcons. The last two hires that are yet to be made are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Houston Texans. Now, I'm about to say something that is like weird, but thanks to COVID, Eric Bieniemy's interview can be pushed up, and it actually happened today between the Texans and Eric Bieniemy. They did it via Zoom. I'm assuming it was via Zoom. So, I mean, they should have sent us the link because we had a couple of questions for the Texans as to why Eric Bieniemy should take your job, not why he should not. I mean, because sheesh. But they ended up indeed interviewing him. We'll see how that goes. As far as the Philadelphia Eagles, they are interviewing Josh McDaniels. The good news and the bad news is that the Eagles are the only team interviewing Josh McDaniels. It seems like McDaniels left a bad taste in a lot of GM's mouth after what he'd pulled with the Colts a couple years ago,
Mm.
and rightfully so. But I think for the Philadelphia Eagles, if they can look past all of that and they can put Carson Wentz in an EP system where I think he will thrive in the type of system that is predicated on reading it quick and getting it out of your hands quick. I think that is where he shines best because you know he can throw it at any level to anywhere on the football field. It's just got to come methodically and not this wild crap where they're just running deep concepts over and over and over with no real threat of anybody coming out of the backfield. Vic, your thoughts on Josh McDaniels potentially being hired by the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I believe in Josh a little bit more than some of these other teams. Again, I mean, this is a system that he grew up in. He was able to also coach, one of the greatest quarterback in the game with it. He learned. I'm sure he learned a lot from Tom Brady. So this is a situation where he could take Carson Wentz, and again, this is something that I mentioned to you guys when Philly started to show some of their regression and stuff like that. Is how to get Carson back into rhythm, right? Let's start with a lot of short passes, a lot of three-step drops. Get him in rhythm before you start asking him to take those vertical shots again. So with the EMP, this is something that, first of all, it's a very run-heavy first type of scheme, which I think is the ultimate way of winning football games. Establishing your running backs both in the run game and establishing them in the passing game, which Brady did an excellent job at, and then take their shots downfield. So I think that this is a great system for him. I think we all know or believe he's a very intellectual quarterback. Those option routes and stuff like that, I think he can excel at. So I would like to see Josh get another chance in Philadelphia with a quarterback like that. And they also drafted a lot of slot receivers, a lot of guys that know how to just work within 5 to 10 yards. So right now that's what they got. So let's use it. Until they draft somebody else that can, stretch the field and things like that.
Right. Jerm, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but what are some of the things that Eric Bieniemy can bring to this, not only the Houston Texans culture and franchise, but more importantly, to the game of Deshaun Watson?
The word I use is innovative. Innovative because you can create different ways for you to create matchups on offense. The goal in offense in general, in any type of way, and anything that you play, is to find ways to score. Find more than one way to score. If you find a niche, then that's great. But you need to find other things that you can do to capitalize on everybody else's talent. We've already know what Deshaun Watson is good at. We already know what Carson Wentz is good at. We know what these two quarterbacks are good at. We know that these two quarterbacks are top 7 players at worst in the NFL at their respective position. And they are still fairly young to the game of football. Well, with us knowing those things, Eric Bieniemy in Houston, I wouldn't take this job. I'm going to tell you why I wouldn't take the job. Because what in this locker room is worth me dealing with besides Deshaun? And Deshaun says he doesn't want to be there. So now I have a disgruntled player who doesn't want to be here and everything else. If that's the case, what is it? What's the incentive for him? What's in it for him?
Yeah.
Then as far as Philly goes, just to say this about Philly, then I'll get back to the Eric Bieniemy and pass it. But Philly is like this. McDaniels will be the perfect hire. However, they will need to flip over personnel. I'm going to tell you this now. The whole receiving core needs to go. The whole thing. They don't have any intellectual receivers. They don't have any of those guys who I think thrive in this EP system. I think they need to flip over the receiving core, bring in a couple of veterans. Hello, Julian, I need you for a year or two over here in Philly. That needs to be the phone call, the first phone call you make if you take it, and you go from there. You got to establish the culture that way if we're going to do this in Philly. Besides that, who is your defensive coordinator going to be?
Good
because if your defense isn't good, I don't give a damn what you got on offense. Because the name of the game is you still got to stop some people. And Philly can't stop nobody. They can't stop a nosebleed. But Eric Bieniemy is one of the most creative young minds we have in the game today. If we're going to use him, we want to use him with one of the most innovative quarterbacks in the game today. 2 innovative pieces create a business that is going to be healthy and a business that is going to boom. because those two will be partners.
Absolutely.
If you don't put him with the right partner, then he's not going to be able to do his job.
Right.
And that's just what it comes down to.
No, I mean, listen, we'll see. We'll see. But I think those two hires are the perfect hires for the quarterbacks. And then once you do that, a lot of things can come falling into place correctly. Um, that's about it for the news, Germ.
All right. So as if we get away from the news, let's dive into these matchups from the weekend. We're going to talk about a couple of things. We had Saturday and we had a Sunday. Let's start Saturday. Let's start with the first game. Let's start with the Rams going to Green Bay. They took the L. They lost 32-18. I'll tell you this. I'm not excited about, the game. The game was a little bit dull to me once I seen that Aaron Donald was not going and he was not able to be himself. Aaron Donald is the most important part of that entire defense. Jalen Ramsey may be third because after Aaron Donald, it's everybody around Aaron Donald who rushes the passer. If those guys aren't getting pressure, that still affects Jalen at the end of the day. So even with Jalen being the second best player, he's the third most important piece to what the defense does. It's Aaron Donald and then the other guys around him in the front seven. After that, we go from there. So what's the most, let's just say this on because I would like to cover it this way. What's the most disappointing thing about it besides the Aaron Donald injury? Let's start with you, Mo. What was something that you were the most disappointed about from the Rams standpoint?
Oh, the most disappointing thing to me, I don't want to say it was disappointing because I kind of knew this, but the fact that it happened and the way it transpired and the reality of it just continuing to come into fruition week after week after week is that Jared Goff is one of those quarterbacks that needs perfect elements to be a great quarterback. This is going to be a little disrespectful, and it may even go against my quarterback guru rules of ethics towards a quarterback position. But the three most important things to this Rams offense: running game, because of play action, Cooper Kupp, and the offensive line. Then we can talk about where the quarterback goes, and that's a huge, huge problem.
Trav, did you have anything that you were disappointed with that game?
I was kind of disappointed at the morale of the team. I mean, of course, Aaron Donald is not there, but you in a playoff game, you better find some way to suck it up
Yeah.
and play.
Yeah.
The morale of there. I mean, y'all got it. They got it down to what? It was like 18 or 20 something. It was somewhere close.
It was a one possession game.
It was a one. They broke it down to one possession, but I think their morale went down when they couldn't stop the run game and their play action play to number 13. It killed them. It destroyed their morale. They was done. They was done from there, man. It was just more their morale. I mean, this the next game going to the championship, and y'all play lackluster. Nah, can't have that type of energy on your team like that, regardless if your best player or the defense is gone or not.
Vic?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, in previous shows, of course, Aaron Donald and his injury was going to be a very key factor. The film is already available for that game. So I saw like about the first quarter of that game so far, just like a rough, draft kind of thing, just kind of scrolling through it. And in the first play of the game, he kind of gets Donald, I'm speaking of, kind of gets twisted up between two offensive linemen, where his ribs, his core, kind of stretched. And it looked like from there, it kind of made it worse for him the rest of the game. He wasn't explosive. The next couple plays that I saw, and then when it came to guarding Devontae Adams, the corners just looked scared. They didn't look prepared, especially Troy Hill specifically. So, there's more to look through on that film. Just shout out to the Packers. I mean, they have an outstanding game plan going right now. They attack you hard, short, and then they'll take their occasional deep shot, which leaves a lot of receivers open. And so they're executing everything very well when it comes to the Packers. But looking forward to studying that film more probably tonight.
Well, let me just say this, and then I'll move on to the next question. The game till about 3 minutes and 36 seconds into the second quarter, the game was 3-10. So
Yeah.
we're looking at a situation where you play 20 minutes of football and you can only muster 3 points, and you got a running game here that's averaging 5 yards a play. You ran the ball 18 times and got 90 yards. So it wasn't that you weren't able to run the football. It's the fact that we had bad plays or plays that didn't result in any yardage that came from us having to make throws that were around the line of scrimmage because we couldn't open it up because our quarterback's thumb was messed up. Jared Goff just didn't give him the best opportunity to win. Anytime your quarterback is 21 for 27 and he throws for 174 yards, that kind of shows you where you are in the game. Shows you where he could throw. He couldn't really test things downfield. And that's a big thing. The longest play they had was a 28-yard pass in that game. There you go.
I think it was off a slant too, where they
And
got some extra
there you
yards,
go,
yeah.
Vic. And there you go.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. So my next question is, biggest takeaway from this game for the Packers? Let's start with you, Trav.
They better bring their same energy this week.
All right, that Vic.
I love that. No, so again, like I said, the game plan is a great game plan. They got great talent at receiver, quarterback, and running back. And the offensive line, despite the left tackle missing, did an outstanding job. Whether that's Donald not being explosive or not, they established a run game, and that's going to be key for them next week. Is establishing that run game, establishing that short passing game, so that they can take their occasional deep shot, have the cornerbacks in that secondary uncomfortable. We'll see. I think it's a tougher defense with Tampa Bay, but we'll see when it comes to that. But it's a well-oiled machine right now, that offense.
Mo?
They are sharp, they are organized, and they execute. That's all I got.
All right, next game on the docket, we had the nightcap for Saturday. We had Baltimore traveling up to circle the wagons in Buffalo, 17-3 Buffalo. What we've seen in this game in particular, we've seen a lot of the same things that we normally see. What are those things? We've seen a lot of things where Buffalo played very well in situations. We got a lot of people still calling for the quarterback to be a good player and say that the offensive coordinator is the reason why the Ravens fail, and that's not the case. We said, well, on a 3rd and 5, why are they running the quarterback sweep? Well, the reason why is because the coordinator doesn't trust the quarterback to make certain throws against this type of defense in this situation. Because we see what happens in the other situation late in the game when he threw the ball across the middle and it was late. But we ain't gonna go there. We're gonna let that be. With that being said, Mo, I'm gonna start with you again with this. What's the most disappointing thing about this game from the Ravens standpoint?
Similar to how you come to a realization as to what Jared Goff's ceiling is, you come to a realization as to what Lamar Jackson's ceiling truly is in this league. And if you haven't realized it by now, you're watching the wrong sport. Go watch bocce ball, okay? Because
If you don't know me by now,
go ahead, Jerm. You got it. Sing it.
you will never, ever, ever. Whoop!
Hey, listen. When somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them. We saw from Lamar Jackson who he is as a quarterback. He's a phenomenal athlete. But I think when you really saw in a playoff game where you have to elevate your level of play, where what you did in October versus Cleveland or in December or in November versus Houston doesn't really matter when you in January versus Buffalo and your playoff lives are on the line. And yes, they were down 17-3 at one point, but when Lamar was in there, you still felt like that deficit was just too big. And that's because of him more than anybody else. You come to a real harsh realization that this is a limited offense because of a limited quarterback.
Trav?
It's the film, man. It's the film. Buffalo seen the film and they got him. They contained him. They made him stay in the pocket. They made him make throws, which a quarterback's supposed to throw, but he wasn't that type of quarterback. You get picked off 101 yards for a touchdown. Everything that could go wrong for Baltimore did go wrong. Even the center. It went wrong. The film told it all. We've been preaching this the whole time. It's been film studies on this the whole time. We got a lot of people with a lot of pride that wanted to keep this going. But the eyes in the sky that watched that 22, it don't lie. And Buffalo proved that to Baltimore. It's a straight up film, man.
Vic?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the playbook got leaked, to the Bills defense.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Vic.
Nah, but
take off your microphone. Go home. That's enough. You did everything. Good job, sir.
Real talk. I mean, again, I called the Bills getting. I called the Bills having a good red zone defense. And they showed it again. They were able to get that interception. Which, I mean, if you look at that play, he could have just knelt that down and just start at the 20. But he said, "I'm going to take this out," and he went all the way. Which is, not only you throw the interception on what was an incredibly wobbly ball from like 10 yards, down the field, but you let the man score on top of that. And I mean, that ended up just being the ultimate blow. It's just, there's not much to say. It's just going to be interesting to see if he gets a contract coming up now. That's going to be interesting because, again, like you guys said, it's just so much you can do with this kid. It's not enough. It's just not enough in this league.
Just a couple things from the game before I go to the next question. Buffalo rushed the ball 9 times.
And
2 by T.J. Yeldon and 7 rushes by Singletary. Allen has 7 total rushes as the quarterback, which we're not going to count those. He threw the ball 37 times. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for this disappointment?
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore had 190 passing yards to Buffalo's 188. They had 150 rushing yards to Buffalo's 32. They outgained them 340 to 220, and they possessed the ball 35 minutes and 33 seconds to Buffalo's 24 minutes and 27 seconds.
Turnovers in short field will do it to you.
And one turnover is not still not the difference in the game, considering that Buffalo left plays on the field for drops. Buffalo left plays on the field with missed field goals. And there you go. This is what happens when your kicker is your best player on offense and is the most consistent player on your offense. And that is a problem.
And then he missed field goals.
The kicker.
Yes, the kicker, Justin Tucker. Shouts out to him. You deserve better than that.
Hey man, bro, that's crazy. I mean, that puts everything into perspective right there. That's like the period at the end of a sentence. That's the cherry on top of an ice cream. I didn't even look at the numbers. Yeah, and those are just the basic front page numbers. We're not even digging into anything else there.
I do have one thing to say.
Yes.
You said Josh had 36 passing attempts.
37.
And he passed for under 200 yards?
That's after the net yardage of, sacks and everything like that. It was 188 total after that. They gave him 206 for the game.
All right, that's a little
206 is what it said he had for the game. Stephon Diggs had 106 of those, by the way, which who do we say will be the difference in the game? Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
And what was he? That's really, bro, this is not hard. Buffalo can win these type of games. Buffalo would have won this game regardless. They can
win these type of games against Baltimore.
I'm saying they can win these type of games against teams like Baltimore. They can win these muddy games against these teams.
You remember Mortal Kombat, how you kept climbing the tower?
Yeah, and it got harder as you went on.
Yeah, they to the top of the tower.
Yeah, I know. But this game right here, they didn't have to be at the top of the tower because this team should have never leaked through. See, leaked. But anyway,
finish him. Sub-zero, no chill on Germ.
But with those things being said, I'm not gonna kill the quarterback because Lamar is not the reason why they lost. He's only a part of the reason they lost. The offensive line got their ass kicked in situations that they didn't normally get their ass kicked during the season. And the defense did what the defense does. I seen terrible penalties. I seen terrible techniques. I seen terrible disorganization. And I just seen a disgusting product that I've been seeing all damn year that I'm sick of seeing because it needs to stop.
So you saying it's on the defense B? It's on the defense B?
It's all, hey, it's not on the defense, Pete. It's not the defense, Pete.
Hey, true to my word. True to my word. If on February 7th, what we want to happen happens, we will release that video that we've been teasing all year. Go ahead, Jerry. I'm sorry.
Hey, it is what it is. We're gonna call it what it is. This team needs to get better on every part of it. Defensive line, linebackers, secondary. Offensive line, you'll get healthy because you are the key to this whole thing. Receivers, the receivers can't get better because they don't know when they're gonna get the ball.
Is Lamar gonna be quarterback next season, or they bring in competition? Or you want to talk about that?
That's another. Listen, just to throw this into perspective, and y'all gonna be mad at me, but I don't give a damn. Lamar had the ball, and Lamar in 3.5 quarters threw 24 times for 162 yards. 1 interception, was sacked 3 times, and had 14 completions. Huntley came in the game and had 6 completions in 13 attempts for 60 yards. So if at this rate, had Huntley played the whole game, at least he would have got the 200 damn yards.
And he missed that outstanding route by Brown too. If he would have hit that, that would have been a touchdown.
Where he didn't miss it, Brown just didn't run for it.
That's still up for debate. We debated that.
Yeah,
listen. Don't worry. Because if he didn't flatten his route out right, it's probably because he's normally used to his quarterback putting a trajectory on the mug and then maybe going up in the air and then coming down like a birthday balloon.
Fair catch.
Stupid, man.
Next game.
I got so much fire in me for this. Real quick, looking off of Buffalo, I'm going to say one thing and I'm going to pass it to the panel.
Yeah.
You have to play better next week because Mahomes got on sunglasses right now because he's getting the concussion protocol. And hey, next week y'all gonna be this how y'all gonna be like this because that's how fast the game gonna be over if you play like that next week. I'm just letting y'all know now. Go ahead.
I actually forgot some part of the news.
Yes.
Because I was looking at the game yesterday. I'm like, well, where did he hit his head? Apparently, it is not a concussion protocol necessarily. For Patrick Mahomes, it's more of a pinched nerve in his neck. Happened. So it's not as serious as it sounds, Vic. I know with nerves, it's a little like
that's oxygen being deprived to your brain, which
would explain why his leg went dead when he tried to stand up.
So he's not. We about to get it like this then, because y'all was talking about my boy, right? When he was doing his little shoulder lean and he had his little thing going, when he got the big balloon going. Hey, don't worry, he back this week, and it's gonna be hell to pay. Don't worry.
Sure?
50 points.
That doesn't sound good.
50 points.
That doesn't sound
do I see
good,
50?
dog.
Do I see 50? Y'all did all of that trolling. Which one of y'all just hit me? 50 points this week, Buffalo. It's not your fault. Mo, anything you want to add to that?
No.
That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good at all. But I mean,
Trav.
Man, I just hope. I hope Pat Mahomes is ready to go healthy, like healthy, not 85%, not 90%. That's a. I mean, it's not a concussion, but it's a messed up injury still. I mean, when oxygen leave your body, that hurts, regardless. But overall, man, I just want this to be a good game, man. Let's get to this Kansas City and Browns game, Jay.
Vic, anything you want to add to that, or anything, or are you good?
No, I mean, yeah, just like you said, the Bills gotta have to play better for this game. They're gonna have to establish the run, which I don't think they'll be able to do. But
segue. We got segue. I'm gonna dance into it. Segue. We got the Browns and the Chiefs. 22-17. Browns fumbled away their opportunities, literally, figuratively. It is what it is. You don't like the touchback rule? Get over it. Grow up. Shows the Browns ain't been nowhere in a while. It just kind of goes like that. Any team that finishes the year in the negative in the differential probably shouldn't be in the playoffs anyway. Go ahead, Mo.
Who doesn't like the touchback rule?
A lot of people didn't. I've seen a lot of complaints. Well, I don't like the rule. I think it's dumb. Well, if you fumble the ball out of the end zone, where should it go?
Tell me. I would love to know.
Hey, I'm just letting you know. Listen, I'm just here. Listen, don't be mad at me for covering the news of the people. The people wanted the news, and I gave them the news. But unfortunately, the bad news. The bad news is
that touchback rule is like what we seen in 94 Feet of Life about where's the third step in a Euro step. But continue, man.
So again, I don't want to see excuses. If you don't like the touchback rule, it is what it is. And Coach Kevin Stefanski said after the fact, we appreciate his effort, but we don't even coach them to reach the ball in that situation. Good evening. Mr. Schefter, what would you like? The most disappointing part about this game for you?
The most disappointing part of this game for me was
from a Cleveland perspective. Let's do Cleveland
perspective. Right. No, I got you. I got you. I think I would say that Kevin Stefanski sort of went back to my biggest fears about him as a head coach. You remember that game they lost against the Jets? Just certain things that he does that are a bit uncharacteristic, goes away from from who they are, from their identity. And so I think the regression in maturity during that game and the inconsistency with him sticking to who they are is disappointing and concerning moving forward.
What number did I say that they needed to get to? 150, right? They rushed for, with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, they rushed for 100 and this looks like 101 yards on 19 attempts.
That's too little. They had a drive in the third quarter that should have happened in the first quarter, and they just got to it too late.
I mean, you can't. And again, this is why we said what we said too. Two teams that don't play 60 minutes. The other team just has a quarterback that doesn't need to play 60 minutes because they're so damn explosive. We've seen everything in this game that we've seen what we said we were going to see on film. So go ahead, Trav and Vic. I'm gonna let you guys get into your most disappointing things. Trav, I'm gonna go with you first.
It's a saying that goes, if you take care of your business at the beginning, you don't have to worry about the end. The Cleveland Browns was slightly taking care of their business. 82 fumbled that ball. That was a touchback, clear as day. I don't care if it was a target or not. You still got to hold on to that ball. I don't even think that was targeting. That was just a good hit. He made a fumble.
You got to do what you got to do.
But we always tend to look at the game like, oh, if this hadn't happened at the end, they would have lost it. No, take care of your business at the beginning. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen on the end. We have seen plenty of playoff games. Plenty. Folks get down in the red zone. They're so explosive offensively. They leave up 13 points in the game. Oh, we got to talk about that in a moment. But we didn't see that happen twice. We done seen that happen. Just take care of your business at the beginning. You don't have to worry about the end. You can go ahead, Vic, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of me to talk about with this game. Cleveland was one of my favorite teams coming this year. I got, a little love for Nick Chubb and Baker Mayfield, some of the guys that I graded higher in their draft class, respectively. Like you guys said, Stefanski there was plays that they left out on the field in terms of running. I don't care if you found it. Like I said, it had to be 35 carries or more. And if you found yourself in a situation where they stopped you 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage and they gave you a 2nd and 11, run the football again. Just do it again. Just do it again, because not only is a chance that you can get the 5 or 6 yards back, okay, you're hitting these people in the mouth. So again, like that's perfect what Trav just said. What you do in the beginning, you ain't got to worry about it at the end. You hit those people in the mouth in the beginning, at the end it's going to be a lot easier. And that to me is how you win football games, establishing the run, letting your offensive line block forward. When those men are going forward, they love that. You saw how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Ryan Jensen, shout out to him. We'll talk about that in a second. They were going forward because that's what they want to do. You prefer to go forward as opposed to coming back in pass protection. So, second and 11, give me another run play, please. And then stop giving me some tosses. Why were we getting tosses? I think what their game plan was, they saw that the Chiefs have some slow linebackers and thought that was going to be effective, but they forgot about Tyrann Mathieu or something like that because he had some quality stops when they were tossing the football and the cornerbacks were tackling. But every time they hit in between the tackles, and of course we got to get to the film for this, it looked like in between the tackles where Nick Chubb is just unbelievably special in creating was where they got most of their yardage, as well as Kareem Hunt, how physical he's been the last 2 weeks, because he mentioned it, how this was a personal game for him. And you could tell by the way he was running the football. So 19 carries, man, that's disappointing. That's for a game that ended up as close as it was too. That's disappointing, but they found themselves in situations where, they had to go for fourth downs. They had to go for certain plays because they didn't know if the Chiefs were going to score, the next drive. And that unfortunately was ultimately what happened, in their demise in that game.
Real quick, number check. Browns had the ball 29 minutes and 23 seconds. Chiefs had it 30 minutes and 37 seconds. Total yards, Browns 308, Chiefs 438. Passing yards, 196 for the Browns, 315 for the Chiefs. Rushing yards, 112 for the Browns, total 123 for the Chiefs. So you mean to tell me the Chiefs outrushed you, they outpassed you, outrushed you, outclassed you, and everything? They ran the ball more than you did too? Wow. So that's why you deserve to go home.
Yep.
Nothing else that needs to be said.
It's true.
Moving forward, we got the last game. It was certainly probably one of the best games of the evening, considering what it was all about, considering everything that was going on with it. I'm just gonna call it out. Bucks end up taking care of business here, traveling to New Orleans, 30-20, closing the game out late on some defensive turnovers, things of that nature. Hey man, let's just call it for what it is, man. Taking care of the football is the most important part of the game. A kick, any possession that ends in a kick is better than any one that ends up with a turnover. If it ends in a kick, you did something good or something right. Period. That's all I need to say. Most disappointing factor for you guys in this game. Let's start with the Saints. Of course, most disappointing factor for the Saints. I'm actually going to start with you, Trav.
Hey, man, if it take a play watching the little Giants to score you a touchdown, you done lost. That's first of all. Second of all, number 54 hit Montgomery so hard and looked at New Orleans bench and said, y'all can get it too. Read his lips. Y'all can get it too.
I love that.
The tempo of this game was changed. New Orleans was scared. Bottom line, they were scared. Yes, you got Kamara and all that, but number 9, he was jittery. You seen the interceptions he thrown. The Bucks did exactly what they supposed to do. Like I said before, they ran the ball over 20 times. This was said over here. They kept moving the chains. They went 2nd and 11, or the one time they was like 3rd and 11. Number 18 made a miraculous catch. Miraculous catch.
Chris Godwin's replacement.
Don't say that. Don't say that right now. But everything that the Buccaneers did, it was said on this show. It was said on this show. I'm not going to go over that again, but everything that was said to beat them was on this show. And if anybody want to sit up here and come and say the Mormon Tebow was a difference maker, you can get on here, but you're going to be sadly mistaken. Dude is not that, he's not that good like that. he would have got hit in the mouth too by 45 or 54. One of them two would have smacked him in his mouth.
Or 31.
Or 31. Yes. Yes. And when it's all said and done, don't let y'all feelings take over y'all picks. Y'all wanted these folks to lose because y'all basically don't like Tom Brady. We told y'all at the beginning, these folks get in, it's going to be a problem.
Oh, boy.
When these folks get in, it's going to be a problem. They clicked at the right time. They didn't want, what's that, Mo? That's their last 6, correct?
Yeah.
That's 6.
4.
Minnesota, Atlanta twice,
Yep, 6.
Detroit, Washington, them. Hey, man. Vic, you can talk, man. I got more for him, though. I got more for him.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things that also happened in this game. 45 was great. That's a second-year linebacker right there out of LSU. He was unbelievable in this game. I don't know where else, man. Like the Buccaneers was able to establish a running game as well with Fournette, a little bit of Ronald Jones. That ended up, being very important for them because they couldn't necessarily get a consistent drive throughout the game. Their scores came from those turnovers in a short field. But to me, Brady still seemed on point. There's no quarterback to me that can consistently throw that outside the numbers like he does. Tyler Johnson had an outstanding catch there, but Brady puts that ball in spots where only the receiver can make a play on it, and it's just unbelievable to watch. Not only that, he at times he's doing it from the opposite hash mark. So this is a guy that they said his arm strength is not there. Then some of the throws downfield, the drop that Godwin had in the end zone, the outstanding play by Marshawn Lattimore to knock that ball down by Evans. There was a lot of nice touch passes that were not completed, and they might have better chances to do that coming up next week and against the Packers secondary. So that's going to be interesting to watch. I don't know. I guess are we still just talking about the Bucks, or are we going to move on to the Saints? Because I can swing that on to you, Germ, now.
Oh, we was talking about the Saints, but you talked about the Bucks.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay.
I mean, hey, just real quick, it's gonna be hard to see what they do in the offseason now, because it looks like they're gonna have to clean the whole house. I feel like Drew Brees at the end of the day, I feel like he's being asked to retire because that contract is ridiculous right now. They're gonna be $98 million over the cap. And I get the feeling he still wants to play, despite the fact that he has some issues.
Right. I mean, a player like that is always going to want to play no matter what.
Right.
And shout out to Drew. We are very critical of him, and for good reason. But he is still, at the end of the day, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play this game, period. Forget the stats, forget the accomplishments, forget everything. Are you really going to realistically name 5-6 quarterbacks that are legitimately better than Drew Brees? The answer is probably not, unless your germ so true. Shout out to Drew. He's had a great career. He's been a disappointing career. And just to answer your question, Germ, as far as disappointment, the most disappointing thing to me from that game was that the Saints just do not have a championship culture. I understand they won a Super Bowl with this quarterback and head coach duo, but that was 11 years ago. That's a lifetime ago, Chief. Does no longer matter because the culture caved years ago. And I think, to me, the most ultimate disappointment is that a team that for 4 years in a salary cap era, you cannot find me a roster that had a better roster for a stretch of 4 years, better than the New Orleans Saints. And the fact that they couldn't even make it to one February appearance is absolutely a tragedy and a disappointment. And the fact that Tom Brady comes in here and after 1 year in the NFC already accomplished more than what Drew has accomplished in the last decade in the NFC. Disappointment. Phenomenal career, but still slightly disappointing.
What was did you notice like he had some teary eyes towards the end of the game there?
Oh, he stayed after for about 2 hours on the football field, just staying there.
And with Tom came to hang out a little bit with them.
Right. It's his career is over. He's done. He couldn't throw the ball more than 15 yards with any sort of velocity or energy, you know. And we've talked about this, Vic. Like for the last 3 years, we have talked that Drew Brees' arm in January does not look like how it looks in September. And this year was by far the worst ever. It was just so clear the difference in conditioning and in health as an athlete between Tom Brady and Drew Brees. Just the gap is incredible.
The longevity, listen, man. Yeah, tell him, Trav, because I've said enough already, yo.
I'm gonna let Germ handle that.
Moving forward to next week, we got the Buccaneers traveling to Green Bay, and we have the Buffalo Bills traveling to KC. Those are the two matchups that we have next week, Sunday. Those are the conference championships. Just is what it is. I'm not gonna say too much. I don't really have much to say. It's not very much to say at this stage. These are the teams that probably were the 4 best teams in the NFL this year. Buffalo has definitely been one. KC obviously has been right there as well. The Bucs, even with their struggles, you're still seeing a lot there. That's what's crazy. After 38-3 was like the greatest experience because at the end of the day, it really humbles the whole franchise, the organization. And it puts you in the perspective to say, hey, we got to do better. Period. Yeah. So with that being said, final thoughts for the show today. And then I'll wrap it up. Let's start with you, Trav. Final thoughts for the day.
Hey, man, just keep doing what you've been doing, man. Stick to your game plan. If you're the Buccaneers, Kansas City is the same way, man. I'm going to make a pick right now as far as the Super Bowl. I think we're going to see Kansas City and Tampa run it back at Tampa. So that's my closing thoughts right there.
Vic?
Yeah, no, we talked about a lot today. We actually went over time, but it was a great conversation, great football conversation. Just excited for this upcoming week, man. We're going to study some film and stuff like that and just get ready for the weekend.
And Mr. Schefter.
Hey, man, just want to shout out everybody in the comments. Josh, Danny, April, Big Shot, Jay Ham, Dennis in there. Saw a couple other people in there. Shout out to everybody in the comments.
Category Storms.
Yes, Josh.
Shout out.
His name is Josh.
You said Josh? I didn't hear the Josh part. My bad.
It's all good. We got some exciting stuff coming up for you this week. Make sure you are subscribed. You should be by now. I know 94 for Your Life is going to have a show. The baseball and the soccer guys are going to be coming back soon as well. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you following us. Scene_the on Twitter. The.scene on Instagram. Scene spelled SCEN. You got it, True.
With that being said, make sure you're tuned in. We may have a special lab session. Just make sure y'all got y'all notifications on and everything else like that. Again, Thursday we'll be back. We'll have a for sure Thursday session. We may have a Wednesday session, depending on how everything goes. If we do, y'all will get the advertisement and y'all will know because it'll just be that's just how we roll. Of course, make sure you guys always pay attention and subscribe to the channel for all of the content, all of the shows. We even gonna have some new stuff coming up soon. And that's your word to your boy True. We got Trav, we got Vic, we got Mo Schefter, Germ So True signing out from Views from the 22.